I've already caulked most of the shower, but I used translucent white silicone, and that doesn't quite hide the gaps like I was hoping it would. I am pretty happy with this vertical line here, but this bottom joint here, it just looks kind of dirty. I'm not quite happy with it. First thing I gotta do is clean out this dirty silicone. I'm gonna cut as much of it out as I can with this really sharp putty knife with a flexible blade. These shower walls and the shower floor are the Sentrel product. It's like a hard plastic, so it will cut. It'll scratch if you're not careful. It's a pain to get the silicone out of these corners. Sometimes you gotta use a razor knife, like the blade from a utility knife. You can see that there's an 1/8 gap here as I'm cleaning out the silicone. That's the reason this translucent silicone wasn't a good fit, because you can kind of see through it. Now if we'd use white silicone, it's not see-through, then it would hide that gap much better. I always like to keep my space clean. So now I'm going to wipe this up really good with some denatured alcohol and paper towel. I don't want to use so much denatured alcohol that it's going to make a puddle. If there does happen to be any puddles of denatured alcohol when I'm putting in the new silicone, it won't stick there. Some of these smudges actually have to be cut off with a knife. Now let's take a look at what we got here. You can see the gaps down along the floor there. It's a wall panel. This is the floor panel. Anytime you have any kind of gaps, this translucent white silicone won't hide it that well. Now this here is probably the biggest gap in this whole shower, right along this curb here. It's about 1/8 of an inch gap there. Now let's start squeezing in the silicone. Now I'm going to wipe it. Now I'm going to double check my work here. I see some smudges here that are going to have to be fixed. I'm going to need to wipe these corners with my fingers. Now anytime I'm using silicone, I like to get the silicone into the gap as much as I can, get it in there nicely, and then when I know that I don't have to add any more silicone, then I can spray the wall with denatured alcohol. And then I can spray my finger with denatured alcohol, and then I can wipe. And I just always wipe off the extra on a piece of paper towel. And I just keep spraying the wall and spraying my finger. Here's a problem. There's a pinhole here, and the wall is already wet with denatured alcohol. So if I put in new silicone right now, it won't stick. There's another pinhole. Okay, I waited about a half hour and then I redid the silicone. And now let's take a look and see how it is. It looks perfect. So now the next order of business is we gotta caulk the shower door. I always silicone from top to bottom on the inside of this jamb leg. I don't silicone the inside of this bottom track. I do silicone in here in this bottom corner. This threshold is sloped into the shower, so if water does get on it, it'll run right into the shower. Got a silicone in this here corner too. See how this is kind of wiggly? So I'm going to put the shim under there. I got a shim under the other side. And I might just go down here and put little random blobs of silicone in here. Just for support. I will run a continuous bead of silicone all along the outside of this bottom track. I will put some translucent white silicone in this gap here in the headrail. Okay, all done. Translucent white silicone along the floor here. Translucent white silicone along the outside edge of this bottom track. I used white latex caulk here in this corner. I didn't use any caulk in this corner. This corner got silicone. This bottom track has no screws holding it. A few dabs of silicone under the bottom of this rail, and also some silicone at each end, and also silicone continuously on the outside at the bottom edge of this rail. And that's what locks this whole thing in place. Once that silicone sets up, it's going to be solid. There's no screws in this top rail either, it's just held in place by silicone. And of course the door is hanging on it, and that's holding it down against the vertical jambs.